My name is Hawk and I make props and costumes. Today I'm going to make a couple of Jedi pouches. I have a bunch of leather. This is couch leather. It's leather from a couch. For those keeping track, it's probably 3 to 5 ounce chrome tan leather. It has been worn and it's got texture. The differences are fantastic. This stuff is orange. It's kind of a, say, coppery orange. It's gonna look beautiful as tabards. And for tabards, I need nice long pieces. But we're not making tabards yet. Right now, we're making pouches because the Rebel Legion requires a couple of things on a Jedi belt for approval. And a couple of pouches helps. And pouches are super easy. The problem with chrome tan leather, though, at least this stuff, it's covered in fuzz. The problem with this kind of leather, first off, look at this. This is stunning. Just the variety of color it's got going on. You can't get that kind of wear other than naturally. But it's very thin. If I make a pouch out of this, it's just going to be pretty floppy. So I got a couple of options. I can laminate it to another piece of leather. I've got a bunch of actual hide. I could make pouches and then just laminate around it. Or I can add a bunch of seams. And if we add seams in a decorative manner, it will both strengthen the pouch and make it more interesting to the eye. And that's what we're going to do. So before I go crazy, this is my Jedi pattern. I want to make sure I have the right pieces for the tabard. It's going to be, at the belt, there's going to be a piece and then a piece above. I'm going to have a seam in the middle because I don't have anything long enough to do the full front and back, which is fine. It's exactly what we did for Kim's and it looks really good. I store most of my patterns in rolls, by the way. Makes me feel like I'm looking through scrolls. Probably these. So that, right there, is my tabard pattern. I'm just going to go through, set everything up, and set out the pieces I need to make those. Luckily it's one-sided, so it's just 4 good pieces of leather, large pieces of leather. Like this one's nice, but it's kind of boring. Whereas this one has a lot of texture to it. This would be perfect for the front. So make sure 1, 2. Probably be good for the bottom half of each. 3 and 4. The other bottom. So now I just need to find, this guy, look at this guy. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. I may actually be able to get the entire tabard out of this. Rather than doing multiple pieces. Let's see what we got. Yeah. So rather than doing a bunch of little pieces, I'm going to put this one large piece aside for the shoulder armor, which means everything else is fair game. But that does still leave me with a lot of really nice looking leather. Now it's time to design a thing. This is the hardware I want to use for the belt. Some of it's this really nice looking copper buckle. They're just like the ones I used on the Mandalorian, on my Mandalorian, on the strapping. We have a little thing that I'm going to snap out and flatten out, and it's going to make a fantastic looking Jedi buckle. But look at how well these two colors go together. I mean, that's spectacular. Got a couple of nice long strips that will make great flaps. I'm going to use, got a bunch of brass Sam Brown buttons that are going to look fantastic. So the first thing I want to do is sketch out an idea. And I know I want it to be about the size of a phone. And then probably a smaller one on the, you know, I don't know. We'll start with the first one. One at a time. Designing this stuff isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world. My mind moves way faster than everything else. The last Jedi pouches I made, I joined at the sides, and they're fine. I don't like that. There's too much exposed metal for this design. Because I've got a couple of interesting ideas that I don't know if any are going to work. I'm going to sit down, sketch out a couple ideas, and come back to us once we have a full-fledged idea. I've been going about this project the complete wrong way. So let me show you my fails. I got a bunch of them. So I started by cutting the piece out, right? There you go. Started by cutting the piece out and then stitching it together, folding it over, and then top stitching. That did not work. Like at all. I didn't like that. So then I just kind of sewed two pieces together, right? That looked okay. It was okay. Tried doing it full scale, and I just hated it. Every bit of it I absolutely hated. Then it occurred to me while I was working on the belt. I don't remember the last video we made. That I can just fold it over, fold the top piece, and then top stitch it. And that gives me a nice reveal that I think will look really good. And I'm like, I'm going about it the whole wrong way. I'm overdoing a simple project. So I'm going to trace this out and cut it. This is the original pattern we've been working on. Then I'm going to trace out the extra pieces, add an ½ inch all the way around, glue it, fold it over, and then just attach it like an applique. And that'll leave me everything I need to do everything I need to do. So this is what we got, right? I had two front pieces. This red outline, that's where it's gonna, that's what it's gonna look like. These are all flapped over. And I'm gonna contact cement everything closed. I have a bunch of little kerfs, so I can fold this over, make a nice sharp edge, which will be neat. I got a belt loop, and then the main body panel. This is going to get glued over. Also, just for a little more reinforcement in it, I'm probably going to slit these right here, so it folds easier on the inside. But the next step is to cover, oh, and little flap for the little flap. We're going to coat everything in glue that is supposed to be coated in glue. Give it 15 minutes, fold everything over, hammer it in place. Everything is timed to do its thing, right? I know it seems weird with contact cement. Quick random rant here. Everybody goes, wait for contact cement to dry. You're not waiting for it to dry, you're waiting for it to cure. There's a subtle difference. It's just designed to work this way. So now that I have everything cured, we just connect all the pieces, hit it with a mallet, and let it dry overnight. All right, that should help it bond. Just finishes the edges nicely. So since we put these two slits in it on the sides, when we fold them in, that's going to be a place where they will be able to bend a lot easier than if it was one solid piece. So contact cement needs pressure to cure properly, by the way, which is why I hit it with a soft mallet. They also make these big rolly things for stuff like this. I tend to jump the gun when I use contact cement, and I don't wait for it to fully cure. All this is also getting top stitching, so I'm not terribly worried. Check that out. That looks super neat, and it's going to look great on the belt. All right. Now we leave it till morning, let everything cure fully, and we'll sew everything in place. I have everything prepped. Everything's been glued. All I'm going to do is top stitch relatively close to the edge. I'm using the industrial, of course, because it's here and I can. This could be done with a punch and hand stitching, but I've got it. I'm going to use it. After a bunch of sewing, that leaves us with this. And that looks super neat, right? And this is super durable. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just very durable. Once everything gets folded in, flaps up. It's going to look something kind of like that, right? Hardware. I'm using brass Chicago screws. But before that, so I've got these flaps, right? I want this to fold up, this to fold over, and then this side to fold over. I was going to leave these open, but I think since I've already got top stitching here, I'm just going to stitch all the way across, all the way there, and then all the way back. That'll give me an exact sizing for just about everything from this point on. So far, this is what we've got, right? No hardware in the back, just a block of wood. I tend to cut a block of wood that's the same size as the project I'm working on, just so I know, just so I can get the shape to work out right. We're doing a little bit of weird bunching at the bottom corner here. Soft leather, kind of happens. And the other advantage of using a block of wood is I can drill straight into it. I'm going to put a bolt here, or Chicago screw here, here, and here on both sides, and then we should be about done. I'm gonna saddle soap the whole thing just to make sure it's nice and smooth. I just want to make sure that this top corner is lined up right. If it bunches weird in the back underneath everything, I don't really care. Luckily this is thin leather. I can work everything in pretty easy. It'll stretch to conform. But since it is thin leather, I'm using the thinnest Chicago screw I have. It seems that no matter how much I plan, I always forget a screwdriver. I could stitch this, by the way. Turn the whole thing inside out and just stitch the two edges together. I don't like the look of that nearly as much, because it would just be I would just line that up like that and stitch it. It's not a terrible idea. Let me think on this. I ended up going with 8 altogether, 2 inches apart. It occurred to me, looking at this, why I like it so much. It's Mara Jade coated. That's the color palette she normally uses. Makes sense. So, Sam Brown button. Just like everything else, to figure about where I want it to be. Probably right about there. Drill a hole. Attach the button. Apparently it's easier said than done. There it goes. And then using the exact same punch as the belt, you know, the cool little fin. We punch it out. Chrome tan. So it doesn't tool as well as vegetable tan leather, but still. I'll get there sooner or later. Put that back in. There. That is a nearly complete pouch. I like it. It fits securely through the belt loop. And onto the belt. Look at that. That is pretty neat. Let's see it with everything else. That looks really nice. I'm very happy with it. I believe they need 2. So I'm not going to make one this size. I'll probably make a much smaller one for next to it. Similar style. Notice there's a open circle here. Something's going there. We just haven't made it yet. That'll be next week's video. And if you don't want to miss that, maybe think about subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. I have channel members. Channel members get exclusive content. They also get pre-releases of everything. As soon as I'm done editing this and I hit post, members get to see it right then and there. So if that's something you're interested in. It's just a couple bucks a month. Thanks for making it to the end. I do appreciate that. We'll see you next time.